Good afternoon, Pool Player Nation. Jason Bowman here, joined by Bill Tufts, and we are just 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks away from the upcoming APA Pool Player Championships in Las Vegas. So we thought we'd hop online today, talk to you guys a little bit about the event, how to prepare for the event, so you can maximize your experience there in Las Vegas. I know some of you guys have been there before, but for some of you, it's going to be completely new, and some things have changed this year. So we want to make sure we cover it all here on this Pool Player Championship preview. An exciting time, Bill.
It's pretty exciting.
Lots of preparations.
Tons of preparations.
We ready to go?
We're getting there.
Getting
we will
there.
be. Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, it's a lot to pack up, a lot to prepare. This is part of it, obviously, but we get the information out, finish packing up the truck, we start cruising out to Vegas.
All right. So when we talk about the Pool Player Championships and preparing, the first thing we want to make sure everybody does before the event is gets registered. Registration for all of the Pool Player Championships events will begin tomorrow. I believe 9 a.m. we get started.
Yes. Yep.
You should get a notification through member services.
Should be through member services, yes. That's the app on the phone. For those of you that don't know, definitely need to download that thing.
Okay, so if you don't have a membership services account, go ahead and get signed up for that today. It's a great way to look at your standings and your stats and different things from the league. But as we said, it's going to be imperative as you get registered for this year's event. So the way that's going to work is you should be able to register all the way up until 24 hours prior to?
24 hours prior to.
Okay, so depending on which event you're in, all the events will start tomorrow for registration, but you will that online registration window will stop 24 hours prior to your actual event. So that's going to vary on the backside of that. And for those that don't get registered, I assume there's maybe an opportunity to register on site?
There is an opportunity to register on site. What I will say is it's very limited. The times we have for that are very limited. For those of you that have been out to Pool Player Championships, or formerly the National Singles Championships in the past, you may remember a long registration line, long process. This gets you by all of that. You register online, you're certifying your skill level, you're signing off on waiver of rules, things like that, and you're good to go. Now, we do hand out the travel assistance for our singles participants at this event, and goodie bags for all of our participants. So you can do that anytime, though, right? Those lines will be open the day you arrive. We'll have people staffed there. You can pick that up at any time. The important thing is to register prior to the event. If for some reason, though, you do find yourself in a situation where you couldn't register online, make sure that you search out the control stage, the main tournament room, and we'll help you out. We'll get you registered.
All right, one way or another, though, you've got to be registered for the event.
Yes.
You can't just go over to the table
No,
and
you
start
can't just
playing.
show up and start banging balls around. No, we make sure that you register. There's a lot of important things in that document. So definitely read it, right? I know a lot of people just kind of click the check box, right? Make sure you know what you're signing off on, but do that prior to your trip. That way it's all taken care of. You don't have to worry about it. If something happens with travel, you get in a little bit late, you're already registered. You don't have to go search out tournament staff to do it manually.
Nice. So one less line to wait in is my takeaway there, right?
One less big line. Yes.
You're going to have lines at the airport. You're going to have lines at Mini Mania. You may have a line at check-in at the hotel. So save yourself a little bit of time up front and go ahead and get registered to go a long way in helping you have a great experience there in Las Vegas.
Absolutely.
So once you're registered, now we start thinking about packing. A lot of us here in St. Louis starting to pack, get our things together to head out to Vegas. So we thought we'd share some of the things that you're going to want to make sure you put in your suitcase for the trip. And it starts with a comfortable pair of shoes.
Comfortable shoes, 100% comfortable shoes. It's a lot of walking. Those convention spaces are pretty big. You're going to be on your feet playing matches. Definitely bring a comfortable pair of shoes.
Yeah. The interesting thing about Las Vegas, too, is everything's so big and grand that it, something looks like it's right across the street.
Oh,
but
it's just right over there.
It's a 30-minute walk to get there. So don't be fooled. Make sure you've got the comfortable walking shoes. Good pair of tennis shoes is essential to having a good experience there in Las Vegas for sure. Next on our list is going to be some type of a light jacket, hoodie, something that you can cover up with, maybe peel off the layer if you get warm. The weather in Las Vegas this time of year, typically pretty warm during the day. It gets a little cooler at night, but you just never know. A storm can blow in,
wind,
really cool things off. I know we've been out there in April before, and it's been somewhat chilly. So make sure you've got a light jacket, a hoodie, maybe both. so you're prepared. Plus, the casinos tend to keep things a little cool.
So are the tournament rooms, right? They're big tournament rooms. It takes a lot to cool them off if it is hot during the day. They don't warm up nearly as fast. So if you happen to be in those rooms kind of early in the morning or later in the day, which if you're playing, you may be both, make sure you have something warm to wear.
Yeah, I'm a big hoodie guy. I'll be packing 3 or 4 of those. So do the same. Make sure you're prepared in terms of staying nice and comfortable. And like I said, you can peel it off if you get hot.
Absolutely.
Right? Have layers, layered.
I think a good point is check the weather too, though, because it does vary this time of year. It could swing, 60s all the way up through, I think it was getting close to the 90s or in the 90s this week. So big variance, makes it a little bit trickier to pack for, but you're going to need that jacket anyway.
Yeah, pack a swimsuit and a jacket. Pool will be open there at the Westgate. It's, sometimes it's a wonderful time of year to get in the water. So again, you're going to have to kind of plan for the variance there in terms of temperature. And then some nicer clothes, right? I mean, you're in Las Vegas for one. You may want to have a nice sit-down dinner somewhere. You may want to hit a nightclub or something along the way. But also for our championship arena, Pool Dog Arena, where we play all of our semifinals and final matches, has a little bit different dress code.
It does. So the dress code is business casual, right? So we're asking you to be appropriate. We've got it all listed out here. If it's not on this list, essentially it's not approved. So we try to keep it simple by telling you what you can wear versus what you can't, because that can vary so much. But if you have any questions on this, definitely come to our tournament staff, search out a tournament director, and we will help you out. I will just say I run into people every single year who don't expect to be in the championship arena that last day, and they're scrambling to find this stuff. So we don't want you doing that. Come prepared, expect to be there, right? Doesn't happen, but at least you're ready if it does. And anybody can win in this thing.
Yeah, plan for success, right? If you pack it, you're mentally telling yourself you're going to be there, and you'll be prepared if you are. So make sure you've got some decent clothes to throw in the bag as well. Couple other things as we move through planning and preparation for Las Vegas. The event program. We actually just released the event program about an hour ago on all of our social media platforms. Those of you watching here on Facebook are probably already aware. Also be on our website, poolplayers.com. Go through the event program. Familiarize yourself with it, in particular, the agenda for whatever event you're competing in. Get an idea for the round times. There's a whole lot of information in the event program. I know it's a lot of information, but we wouldn't put it in there if it wasn't important, and I think it will answer a lot of the questions that you may have about the event.
Well, and that's kind of the point, right? It's completely derived from the questions we receive over the years. So we packed it full of all the information we believe you're going to need, and if it's not in here directly, there's a link to it through the event program. So definitely utilize that. I know if you come up to our staff and you're asking questions about these things, they are going to work with you to find this online for you to help you down the road, so that you don't have to seek out a staff member necessarily to find out this information each time. We'll direct you to the source. But if you find it beforehand, it really helps you kind of plot out your trip, right? Because we do have your agendas. We've got the Mini Mania schedules linked to it, all the rules, registration times, everything is in there. So familiarize yourself with that.
Yeah, like you said, the Mini Mania schedule, I know that's a big one that people are looking to see. Practice table times, I think we have in there when you can, expect to try to get on a practice table. So a lot of good information in there. Again, a lot of information to digest, but all useful. And again, the more you know, the more prepared you are, the better time you're going to have in Las Vegas, I think.
And I would say it's not a magazine for flipping through and reading page by page. It's more of a reference guide.
Sure.
Really. So if you have a question, look there first.
Right.
More than likely it is answered there. If it's not, we will have staff on site. We have an information booth. It'll be right up at the front of the convention area. When you walk down from the casino, just turn left. We've got our information booth there. We're happy to help you there. Any of our control tables, any of our staff, if you see a staff member in a staff shirt, they'll be happy to help you out as well.
Nice. So the event program, again, all digital, is online now. If you're watching us here on Facebook, just scroll a little further down and you'll see we just put it out about an hour ago. But it is all digital now. I mentioned that a couple of times because, a couple years back, pre-COVID, we were still printing copies. Now it is strictly digital, and that's been really popular and easy access for everybody. And it's available in advance, right?
It's available in advance. We don't have to go to the press, to the printers with it.
Sure.
Saves a lot of time, so we can get that information out to everybody much sooner.
All right, so make sure you check out the event program, which came out today. The one thing we neglected to mention when it came to packing was an important piece of equipment that you're going to want to bring to Las Vegas with you, and that is your pool cue. If you are planning to fly to Las Vegas, we strongly encourage you to plan to pack your pool cue in your checked luggage. I believe TSA, it prohibits pool cues from being carried on. I know I've talked to people over the years that have said, well, I was able to carry mine on. I would say that is the exception more than the rule. You are much safer to go ahead and pack up your cue, bury it in there with all your clothes, nice and padded in your checked bag, and plan to bring it out that way because, again, the last thing you want is to get to the airport, get to the security line, and then take your cue and have to check it by itself, right? I think it's probably much safer packed in amongst all your clothes, nice and padded.
Definitely. And I can attest to the airlines, sometimes they will let you have it on. I can say whenever you're traveling back home from Vegas and they see hundreds of these things, if people are trying it, that little exception is probably going to go away.
Yeah.
So just assume, as Jason said, that you won't be able to bring it on, and make sure it's packed well.
Yeah. Now is it FedEx that's there at the Westgate?
FedEx is there, yes.
So, theoretically, I guess you could ship it if you wanted. To me, I'd feel more comfortable probably putting it in my check bag on the airplane versus trying to send it through FedEx, but it's up to you. It's going to cost you a little bit to do that.
It's going to be more, yeah.
But that would be a secondary option if you flat out don't want to pack it. Otherwise, you can drive, right? Drive on out to Vegas. It'll only take you a couple days to get out there, right? And you can have your cue with you the entire time along the way.
Have somebody else drive.
There you go.
You fly,
That's
and then they just
better.
deliver your cue whenever you get out there.
Nice. So, I don't know, is there anything else you want to talk to them about as far as planning and preparation before they get to Las Vegas? I mean, again, we've talked about, registering. We've talked about some things to pack, how to get your cue out there, knowing some of the information beforehand. Is there anything we're missing in terms of preparation?
I think that's kind of the big stuff. Know what you're getting into, right? If you don't understand something, go ahead and ask the questions now. I mean, our staff are available right now if you want to email in or call in. We can help you with that information now. That way you're not in the dark, right? We'd much rather solve your issue now for you, put you on good footing, than to have you coming out there with any kind of anxiety over the trip and what to expect. So please just let us know and we'll help.
And I know I've said this a few times, but the better prepared you are, I think the better time you're going to have, the better experience you're going to have. So, and if you do have questions, Bill mentioned, you can throw them right here in the comments. We're going to try to address some questions towards the end of this live stream. If we don't happen to get to your question, or if you see the live stream long after it was live, you can still go ahead and in there, and we'll try to get that answered for you as well. So feel free to ask questions if you'd like. As we move from planning and preparation for your trip to Las Vegas into what to do once you arrive there in Las Vegas. Now, the vast majority of our participants, and there's over 3,000, I think I saw like 3,100 and some change in terms of registered participants. That does not include those that are competing maybe just in Mini Mania, Mega Mania, or just coming out with someone else as a friend. Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of folks coming out there, and most of them, again, will arrive by way of air travel. So when you get to Las Vegas, you're going to need to find a way to get from the airport to the hotel, whether you're staying at the Westgate or somewhere else. I think at this particular event, most of the participants are staying at the Westgate. But the one thing you don't want to do is plan to try to walk from the airport to the hotel. It is
Don't do it.
A very, very long and a very inconvenient and unsafe way to try to get to the hotel. So please plan accordingly. And there are some different ways that you can get transportation from the airport to the hotel. And they range in cost, right? So we'll start with the cheapest option, which is going to be to take like a shuttle with a group of people that maybe you know, maybe you don't know, right? So they're going to pick up, 15 or so people in a shuttle, and they're going to drop you guys off at various hotels on the Strip. You may end up paying $10, $12, $15 a person for that mode of transportation. So again, probably your cheapest option, but maybe you're not your most convenient because you're not sure, if they're stopping at your hotel first or last, right? So you may be on there a little bit longer. You may be crammed in there with some people that you may not know. Now, if you've got a whole group of people with you from your area, maybe that would be the best way because you guys are going straight to the hotel because you're filling up the shuttle. Then you've got the kind of the mid-grade option, right? And that is going to be taxi, Uber, Lyft, your ride shares. And I think this is the way that most people generally get from the airport to the hotel. It's the way that I get from the airport to the hotel. Certainly a convenient method with Uber and Lyft. But I will say this about the cabs, Bill. They now have set rates. I don't know if you've seen this, but they have set rates now from the airport to certain hotels. So the days of the long haul cab ride where the cab driver picks you up at the airport and
the highway?
takes you 10 miles around Vegas on the highways and charges you $50 for the cab ride. They've tried to do away with that. My assumption is to compete with the rideshare apps where you know exactly what you're paying. But the nice thing is now and I believe it's either $20 or $25 from the airport to the Westgate. So that's what you can expect to pay for a cab.
I know the cab lines, I should say, move pretty fast outside.
They do.
Like, I know that the rideshare, I've waited longer down at the rideshare stand because everybody else is doing the rideshare, and the cabs, not too much of a line, and they're moving fast. And I think they're much more competitive pricing now with the Ubers and Lyft. The capped pricing matters, so.
Yeah, I had gotten to a point where I was doing strictly the ride shares from the airport, but now that they've set in that capped pricing or that standardized pricing, pretty much I'm always taking a cab now from the airport once again. So it's a little bit shorter walk to the cab line. The ride shares, you got to go a little further, and I think you maybe have to go back up. So, in terms of convenience, I think the cab is probably the way to go, and I think the pricing is probably going to be competitive. And then your ultra luxurious method of getting from the airport to the hotel, limousine service, right? There are lots of limousine services that you can contract to pick you up at the airport. So a lot of times you'll see people at the airport that are offering limousine rides. That's going to be a little bit more expensive than the other options, but again, if you have a group of people and you're splitting the cost, maybe it's not as bad. But I don't know, $80, $100 for a cab from the airport to the hotel.
How much luggage do you have?
Right.
I'll always preface it with that. Sometimes with the ride share, some of those are better at luggage. The taxis get even better. The limos, though, if you've got a large group, bunch of luggage, you're looking at multiple cabs or multiple ride shares, it could be the more affordable option because you are splitting that cost amongst the group.
Yeah, I mean, if you've never been to Vegas before and you're traveling with a group of people from the league and you're doing it up and you're there for the first time, maybe it's the way to go, right? But otherwise, there are lots of options, different price points for each option. So just kind of decide, I would say, before you get on the airplane what you're going to do. That way you've got a plan. You're not landing in Las Vegas and then, trying to get with a group of people and say, how do you guys want to do this? And, it's best to be able to land at the airport, grab your bag, and head out and start your adventure in Las Vegas.
You can book one of those in advance. You want to be one of the people that has a little sign waiting for you. Look all VIP whenever you get to the airport.
Nice.
You do that way as well.
Nice. So once you get to the hotel, first thing we suggest you do is get checked in at the Westgate or wherever you happen to be staying. Again, most of the participants at this event are going to be staying at the Westgate, the host hotel. So once you get there, we do suggest you immediately check in if possible. Now, some of you may be traveling out a little bit earlier in the day. You may not be able to get in a room right away if you arrive like in the morning before noon, or I think check-in time is probably like 3, 4 p.m.
I think it's 4.
Yeah, sometimes though they'll if your room's ready, they'll let you get in there. But there may be times where your room's not ready, in which case you can actually check your luggage there at the hotel with the bell desk. They'll hold on to your luggage. That way you don't have to haul your suitcase all around the Westgate, and you can start exploring once you get there. It's generally a free service, and you just tip the bellhop, probably $5, $10, depending on how many bags you have, once you pick your bags up. So, there's certainly some options if your room is not yet ready when you arrive.
And you take it to the bell desk if you are staying at the hotel. They can just bring it up to your room. Again, tip is, welcomed in that case, but way more convenient than lugging your stuff around the casino, or taking it to a restaurant to go eat or whatever you want to do. I drop my stuff off when my room's not ready, so it's just way more convenient.
Yeah, tipping in Vegas is pretty customary and will go a long way in enhancing your experience, whether you are trying to get free drinks at the video poker machines at the bar like I do, or you are checking your luggage. Taking care of your service providers there in Las Vegas goes a long way to not only getting better service, but just having a better experience overall.
Absolutely.
I think. So plan to carry lots of ones, right? Once you're checked in at the hotel, kind of explore your surroundings, right? Make your way around the Westgate, check out the dining options, see where the different bars are, but ultimately you need to make your way to kind of figuring out where the tournament area is. Now, depending on when you arrive, setup may still be going on in the tournament area, so you may not be able to actually come into the tournament rooms, this would apply to those of you that are in the earlier events. But I would at least want to know, like, where am I going when it's
Which
time
path
to
do
play?
I go? Yeah,
Right.
down to the room. The room up until the day we open, Thursday, right, the day of the tournament, the room will be closed, right? We've got to finish up getting everything set. There's forklifts moving around, there's scissor lifts, there's tables being moved, all kinds of stuff. So the last thing we want is anybody getting hurt in that space. So we make sure it's locked down. You can get kind of a sneak peek every once in a while, but our security is going to make sure that basically just vendors and staff are back there to make sure that everything gets set. We will, however, have our match information, our event information people available in that foyer. Be the first thing you find on your hunt towards the convention center.
Okay.
And they'll be able to walk you through where to go the next day or whenever you're going to play. If you arrive after that first day, we're open. We're open from 8 until roughly 2 a.m. every single day.
Yeah, so kind of get an idea of your bearings, know where you're going. It's not difficult. I mean, the Westgate is a big hotel property, but when you come in first thing to the Westgate, you've got the main bar, the international bar. To your right of that is you see a hallway where you'll find the fine dining restaurants. You just make your way through that corridor, and to your right is where you're going to start running into the tournament space. So it's not hard, but again, you do kind of want to know where you're going. So when the time comes that you've got to get down there, you're not running behind. You don't want to take a chance at forfeiting a match or anything like that.
When in doubt, follow the pool cues.
Sure.
Right.
So I was going to give you guys, as we speak about restaurants and things, some, we'll call them insider tips, if you will. Dining options at the Westgate would include the food court. The food court includes Mexican option, sandwich kind of burger.
An Italian.
Place. You've got wings.
Yep.
And pizza? And pizza. So, some quick service type options that you can get there. You've got a diner at the Westgate, which is Sid's. Yeah, I almost called it Katie's, the Riviera's.
I'd say it's more of a
diner.
Cafe, maybe.
Cafe, diner.
Yeah,
it's sandwiches, breakfast. Now, I'm not sure on the hours there. Sometimes they close a little bit earlier in the day.
It does kind of vary. And since COVID, just with the, labor issues, we were experiencing some weird hours. So I'm not sure the exact hours of operation. I do know that it's open right now.
Okay.
Because I've gotten word from Vegas that it is open.
Like right this minute?
Right this minute.
Okay, so if you're at the Westgate right now, you can run over there and eat. So good to know.
Yeah, but that's another good option. It's a bigger restaurant style, sit down kind of thing.
Yeah, not overly, upscale.
No,
right?
no, pretty casual
Dining, right? There will be some, we call them food trains. I don't know if that's the actual term. But
it is. That's the technical term.
Some quick, walk by, grab food options. And they generally have like pizzas and salads and some sandwiches.
Burgers, hot dogs, nachos, that kind of thing. To-go pizzas.
On-the-go food. You basically stand in a line. Cafeteria style almost.
Yeah, and some of those will be stationed actually in the casino while we're there. Others will be down in the tournament space itself.
Okay. And those are all pretty decent. Occasionally I'll run by there and grab something.
Yeah, that's your fastest option.
Yeah.
If you're in a pinch, you really got to get the food, you got to get to a match or somewhere else, that's going to be your quickest option.
All right. And so then again, kind of like taking the transportation from the airport to the hotel, there's lots of different dining options at the Westgate. It's probably also your cheapest option, right?
I would say
on-the-go food. Your most expensive option for food is going to be your fine dining restaurants at the Westgate. And those include the Italian restaurant.
Fresco. Yep.
Fresco. We have Benihana, which is Japanese style. Hibachi. You sit down at a big table of people, and it's kind of a fun experience. Good for a group if you've got several people.
Or to meet a new group.
Yeah, or to meet some other people if you're you're really social. They also have there at Benihana, they've got a sushi counter,
sushi bar, kind of in the middle.
A ramen.
Yeah, it's like a noodle place.
Noodle place. Yeah. So a couple of different options, and probably one of the more beautiful Benihanas. If you've ever been to Benihana,
it's impressive.
This place is pretty cool. It's got waterfalls and a koi. I don't know if there's actually fish in there, but kind of like a koi pond style setting. And anyway, it's just kind of a nice experience if that's what you're looking to do. And then you've got the Edge Steakhouse, which is probably the nicest dining option there at the Westgate. They are dark a couple of days a week, I think. Maybe Sunday, Monday, they're not open. But I think the rest of the week they are. And again, if you're looking for a really good steak and great cocktail, this is the place that you want to go and sit down and have a nice dinner.
Real quiet. That one, well, Benihana too. Anything along kind of the restaurant row get you a little bit past the machines, the dinging, the action, everything calling your name,
Right.
to go sit down. And I don't know, just kind of a break from all the rest of it.
Yeah. Now, if you decide to venture outside the Westgate, right? Again, you're going to need to get from the Westgate. The Westgate sits about a block off the Strip, so you can walk over to the Strip. The closest casinos to the Westgate, I would say, are probably Circus Circus, Sahara. What's the new one next to Circus Circus?
That is Resorts World.
Resorts World, which is a very nice brand new casino. It's only been there about a year and a half
no
or so.
cash. So if you do get food there, make sure you bring a card.
Ah.
It was all credit card or
Good to
debit
know.
card, no cash.
Except for the
They
casino.
take cash on the casino floor.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know
Yeah.
they take a lot of cash at the casino
Yeah.
because I've left a little of my own there. But they also have a really big food court there that you
They've
can
got
check
like,
out. So,
it's like 35, 40 restaurants.
yeah, so I would say
Totally.
those are in walking distance. But the other great thing about the Westgate is, obviously you can take a cab, you can take an Uber from there, but they have the monorail that runs right in front of the Westgate. The monorail is basically a small train that runs from Sahara, which is the property north of the Westgate, all the way south to MGM, and it stops in between, I believe, at Flamingo, the Link, Bally's are the three in between. So, you can get to very different points on the Las Vegas Strip with the monorail. Personally, it's one of my favorite
Great
modes of
value.
transportation.
Great value.
It's a great value. In fact, if you go to poolplayers.com or the Pool Player Championships homepage, we actually have a discount. If you buy like a multi-day pass, you can save several dollars on the monorail. So like before I go out there, I will buy a week-long pass. I think I saved maybe $20 over the course of that. And, it allows me to get to different points off the Strip. I love the Westgate, and I will eat lots of meals there, and I certainly will gamble there as well. But, sometimes if you're looking to get out and explore Vegas, the monorail is a super convenient and efficient way to do it. So I'm a big fan of the monorail.
And I think we're big on, this is an experience for everyone. The tournament is obviously important. That's what's bringing us all together. But there are things to do in Vegas outside of just the Westgate.
Sure.
We love our partners there. Plenty to do there. But if you're looking for something else downstrip, the monorail is a great way to get you started because it's going to take you right into the quad, the big four. And then from there, you can walk pretty much to any of the other majors from that point. So it's a very good option. And one that I think is really underutilized. Oftentimes, it's not a lot of people on it. So it's pretty convenient.
Convenient. I think it picks up every 7 to 8 minutes. So it's very quick to get there. So those are some good options as far as dining, getting around Las Vegas. A couple other things that we'll call insider tips, but general just kind of more mental health. Stay hydrated out there. You're probably going to be doing a little bit of drinking. And even if you're a non-drinker, you're in the desert. It's hot. It's dry. Hydrate really well. You're going to be playing matches. There's going to be some intensity. There may be some long nights. You may not be sleeping as much. Water, and more water while you're there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Living in an air-conditioned hotel and convention space just for any amount of time, I think that's a good tip, especially whenever you're in the desert. But yeah, absolutely. Water's key. Yeah. Keep yourselves healthy. Right.
And the other thing I think is just attitude, right? Again, when you go to Las Vegas, right, you got to get on an airplane, you got to check into a hotel, you got to get a cab. There's going to be some lines, you may run into some inconveniences along the way. But I think the better attitude you have and kind of rolling with the punches, so to speak, the better experience you're going to have. So, if something doesn't go your way, on the way out, don't let it affect the rest of your trip, right? Don't let it negatively impact your experience just because one thing maybe didn't work out perfectly the way you'd hoped. And that's going to apply all the way through to going home from your trip. Attitude is everything. Our staff out there does everything they can to try to make sure that you guys have a memorable experience, the experience of a lifetime. But again, I think if you come out there with a positive attitude and you just kind of keep that attitude throughout, it's going to go a long way in making sure you have a really great experience.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been on a trip where there hasn't been some sort of hiccup somewhere along the way. But I know we prepare ourselves for those, right? So it starts with the pre-planning, know what you're doing, get as much information as possible. That way, if there is a deviation from that plan, you can adjust a bit quicker, right? You don't have to figure out the first thing, what you were supposed to do or where you were supposed to be, adding stress to it. You already know. So now you can start thinking of a new way, to get yourself there. So that's key. Just like Jason said, go into it with a good mindset. You're going to have a great time. If we can help in any way, let us know.
Attitude is everything. So let's jump into some tournament details.
Right.
First off, I mean, a big change this year are the tables that we're going to be using in Las Vegas.
You heard about that, huh?
Very happy. Yeah, I was part of the big announcement, but we will have 316 diamond tables out there this year. So big change. Obviously, prior to we were using the Valley table, so big switch for the tables. I know a lot of folks are excited about that. Obviously, we're very excited about that, and just want to make sure you guys know what you can expect when you get there. Is there anything about the tables you'd like to tell them?
We're really looking forward to them. We really hope you guys are too. Our partners at Diamond have already started moving trailers out to Vegas, so some of those tables are sitting and waiting for us out there. We're just really excited to get it going and to start this new partnership off right with the Pool Player Championships.
Nice. There will be 5 events at the Pool Player Championships. Of course, you have the 8-ball classic and the 9-ball shootout. Those are the 2 flagship events, if you will. In addition, we've got the Showdown Series events, which include the 8-ball doubles, the 9-ball doubles, and the Wheelchair Championships. And then we have, of course, Mini Mania, which is always popular, the kind of ongoing sign up and play tournaments that happen pretty much for the duration of the event, maybe just shy of 4 hours a day, right? I think we stop for a few hours to clean up the room and throw some of the cups away, and but otherwise, that's an opportunity. And then Mega Mania, I'll let you mention a little bit about Mega Mania and what that's all about.
So Mega Mania, it really is just an extension of our Mini Mania product. But we recognize at the end of a tournament, when most people have been eliminated at that point, we have a sea of tables still available. So we decided to build in some larger scale Mini Mania events. They go by the tag Mega Mania, but they're typically doubles events, bigger field, 64 teams. We do those signups on site. So if you've got the scores, right, you've been playing league, you're eligible for these. So you can just sign up on site, and they're really popular. They're gaining in popularity. I mean, it's just another opportunity to play and to win some decent money.
Awesome. And then, of course, we live stream all of our championship matches from Pool Dog Arena. Again, we mentioned the 8-ball classic, 9-ball shootout. You've got both of the doubles events and the wheelchair championship. So 5 championships that will be live streamed from Pool Dog Arena. Within the 8-ball classic, we've got 5 individual championships. Within the 9-ball shootout, 4 individual championships. So if my math is correct, we're talking about 13. Is that 13? 12?
What did you just say?
We got 5 plus 4 is 9.
Yes.
10 with the wheelchair,
Yes.
and then 2. So 12.
12.
We'll have 12 live stream championships coming to you from Pool Dog Arena. So if you happen to be not playing or you want to check out the action, come down. Everybody's welcome. We have lots of seating in there. It's a really beautiful arena. Bill and his team do a great job of transforming that space into one of the premier championship arenas that I think you'll see in pool in general. So it's an opportunity to come down and be part of that. And you can still watch the match on your phone too.
You can.
Right? You go ahead and watch it, and you can listen to Ava and I commentate the match, and you can watch it firsthand. But it's always nicer when we have a full house there at Pool Dog Arena. And I know the participants enjoy the opportunity to play in front of a big crowd. Nerve-wracking, but still enjoyable, probably.
Yeah, it's a unique experience for those players. I mean, we really are trying to do as much for the amateur as what we see other organizations doing for the pros, right? We want our players to have that excitement, that feeling. And I think with the crowd, it's natural. People want to gravitate to that room. But it is quite the spectacle. If you find yourself there shooting, first and foremost, it's still just pool, right? I see so many people deer in headlights, but it's pretty exciting.
High intensity amateur pool.
You get to see Jason and Ava also. They'll be in there doing the commentary as well. So make sure you pop in and say hello.
Yeah, in addition to Ava, we're also going to have some of our other fan favorites out there. Of course, Dr. Q, who's been a regular at our events for over 2 decades. Our good friend Florian Kohler, otherwise known as Venom, the internet trick shot sensation. He's going to be out there doing a couple of shows. In fact, I think Mrs. Venom, or Ayana, his wife, is going to be doing some work with our production team out there.
I heard
as well.
about that.
So
very nice.
Looking forward to seeing her. And then Another big name visitor that's going to be out there, the Black Widow, Jeanette Lee, is going to be making her return to our events in Las Vegas. A lot of you guys have been following Jeanette's story. Of course, she is still battling ovarian cancer, but wants to come out, wants to be able to interact with the members. She's doing good right now. I've talked to her. I know she was playing some pool back home this weekend. So, great opportunity to come out and say hi to Jeanette, show her some love. And really looking forward to having her back in Las Vegas, and really a special treat for those of you that have never had a chance to meet Jeanette. For her to be back out there is truly a special thing for us.
That's incredible. So looking forward to all of them, Jeanette especially, though. It's been a while.
It has. Of course, on top of it, we've got, I think, $850,000 or some odd dollars that are up for grabs out there. I was looking at the prize money, $858,830. Who does the math? Who figures all those numbers
finance.
out? Finance. Okay, good thing we got some good finance people.
Well, they check the math. I got to come up with it first. So
they're probably pretty exact, I guess.
They're pretty exact.
So a lot of prize money up for grabs. Again, it doesn't just all go to the top winners. We pay that out. So I think generally about the top 25% of the field. So a lot of folks are gonna be going home with some great prize money from this event, and I know we look forward to that. Lots of smiles, lots of happy members at the end of the day. So what else do we have to cover, Bill? I mean, we're kind of running through everything. If you guys have questions that you'd like to ask, go ahead and throw those in the comments right now so we can try to answer those. Hopefully we've already answered all the questions, but if not, we will do our best to get you those answers. I know we have some player meeting videos that we will be releasing here over the coming days. You know what we did not talk about? CompuSport. You want to talk a little bit about CompuSport?
We will talk about CompuSport. So CompuSport is our official app for the event. If you do not have the app, make sure you go to CompuSport.ca or CompuSport.us to download that. On there, you find our event. Once you select our event, you can choose to follow yourself by punching in your name, or you can follow a friend. If you happen to know somebody else in the event, it's going to have your schedule. It's going to have your bracket. It's got the payouts on there. What I will say is that the singles is pretty involved whenever it comes to doing the brackets. And I think that that's something that most people probably don't focus on too much, except whenever they don't see the bracket posted publicly. They want to see the bracket. We fully understand you guys want to see it. You want to plan out as much as possible. We want to get that information to you. But when we're talking about skill level tiers and we're talking about certification process or the registration process through your phone, skill levels can change. Right? They're not static from the time that you qualified. If you are one of our qualifiers, they can go up, they can go down. We have to do those reviews, right? Make sure that everybody's set best possible, get them into the brackets according to their skill level. That means that we've got to change the brackets right up until roughly 48 hours prior to the start of the event. Okay. And we'll continue making some changes to those brackets as we get right up to the point that we're going to start playing matches. Because we'll have some people that will register late. We've got to move them from one tier to the next. So we try to put those out there as late as possible for that reason. We don't want to have people seeing a dozen changes on these. And what it is today, I can tell you, it will not be that way within 48 hours of the event. So right around then, 48 hours or so to the event, make sure you're checking CompuSport app. If you don't see it, assume we haven't got it up there yet. It will 100% be up there within 24 hours.
Nice. We've come a long way since the big tournament boards that you used to see out there where you had to kind of track where you might be. And what I love about the CompuSport app is, once it's out, you can start to see kind of when, depending on if you win or lose, you can map out what your times are going to look like throughout your time in Vegas. And if there's something you want to do, you can start penciling in kind of when a good time or opportunity is to do that.
Win or lose, it'll show you where you would advance to. Win or lose that match, it shows you where you would advance if you happen to still be in. Friends, you can track them, see what their schedules look like. Maybe you're out there with somebody else. You want to go to dinner. Your schedule will work. Well, you can check to see if their schedule will work, win or lose. It's really, really handy. And you can do it from anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best part. And if you sign up for the notifications, then you'll actually get the notifications sent to your phone. So if we call out your table number, that's going to go to your phone. Right. Now, if you don't have the app, you don't have a phone that does that, we do have kiosks on site. And we have staff at our control tables who also have access to CompuSport. We'll be happy to help you through the process and get you to your match.
Nice. Can't believe we almost finished this up without mentioning CombiSport.
Pretty
Would
crazy.
have been in big trouble.
That's a big one.
Big trouble.
It's a big one.
Something else I wanted to mention or talk to you a little bit about is a lot of folks have gone to live. So we live stream the championship matches. A lot of folks like to stream their just, mid-tournament match, their opening match, matches that are happening in the big rooms, which is okay with us.
Yes, it is.
But you have to make sure it's okay with your opponent. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, we ask that you check with your opponent, make sure that they're comfortable with it. Obviously, even if they are, we want to make sure that cameras aren't encroaching into the playing area. They're staying out of people's way. They're not in the aisles, right, where somebody could trip over it. But if you've got your phone, you got a good way to set it up. The opponent doesn't care that they're being live streamed. We are all for it.
Okay.
Right. And we do ask that if you're going to request to not have it live streamed, it's not something that you're trying to gain an advantage over somebody else or whatever. Be mindful that as we go, more and more matches are going to be streamed. If it's not by us, it's going to be by other people. We do expect that there will be photography and filming within the space. We prepare you guys for that. So just know this space is not a camera-free zone.
No.
We're just asking that players be respectful of other players both ways, right?
Yeah.
The want to have the live stream and those that don't, and everybody be respectful of those decisions.
Okay. So yeah, if you're planning a live stream, make sure you've got some kind of decent tripod, something to hold your phone up and shoot with, and
maybe a helmet cam.
Be prepared. Helmet cam, interesting. We might have a helmet cam of our own that we're using.
I've seen the helmet cam. It's
as
impressive.
Bill said, you're going to see people taking videos and pictures. Our marketing team is going to be out there capturing video and photos. The one thing for those of you that are taking pictures, again, no flash photography out there. We don't want to throw anybody off with the flash in the tournament room. But other than that, you're welcome to, to take in the experience. The one thing we ask, if you're posting stuff online, particularly if you're live streaming, use the hashtag APA Vegas and make those streams public, because, a lot of folks like to really consume or watch the matches that are happening out there. So, if you're going to put it out on the internet, you might as well put it out for everybody to see. And, you can use, again, that hashtag, which is hashtag APA Vegas, for people to find the match. So just some different things to think about. We have gotten a few questions in, Bill. Questions I'll throw at you. The first one applies to the new diamond tables that we talked about. Question about whether those are league cut or pro cut diamonds.
So these are actually the tournament edition diamonds, much closer to league cut diamonds that some of you may be familiar with. There's a couple tweaks to them, but they are the brand new APA tournament edition.
Okay, so these are tables that are basically being produced for our events.
Correct.
Then. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, what we didn't want the pro cuts. Right? There is a place for those, but when we're talking about APA, we're talking about what we are trying to do. We felt it was important to have tables that match more the specs of who we are and what we represent, and these do that. We expect them to present some challenges to players that haven't played on diamonds. For those that have, if you've played on a pro cut, they're going to be easier than that, right? But the whole point is to make balls have fun, and we didn't want everybody out there, banging balls around for, too many times.
Well, we have a finite amount of time to run the tournament too, so we have to make sure that things keep flowing.
Yes,
so
we
I
do.
get that.
But they'll be closer to the League Cup, but there's some angles that have changed slightly. So we are excited for you guys to see them and to give them their first go through.
You guys will be the first group to play on the new APA Diamond Tournament tables. So another question sort of related to the diamonds, but about the paying for them. Are the tables in Mini Mania going to be diamond coin ops, or are they just regular diamond tables?
They will be the diamond coin ops.
Okay.
Right. So there will be a mix on the floor between the coin ops, the smart table, for those of you that are out there, versus the other tables that don't have a drop. It's just a return. Those, we're actually going to have them segmented out by rooms as much as possible, so that for the main room play, Showdown Series play, those, as many of those as possible will be the open tables. The Mini Mania, because of the nature of Mini Mania, those will be the practice primarily, as well as the Mini Mania tables, of course. Those will have the coin op mechanisms on.
Okay. And I know we're bringing in some new technology, or the Diamond is bringing in some new technology, I should say, some electronic payment form Pay range.
Yep.
I know they're going to be out there. Which tables will utilize the pay range, which is again an electronic payment option?
Yeah, so every table that's got a coin op mechanism in it will also be equipped with pay range. And as Jason said, pay range, it's an app on your phone, allows you to bypass having to touch the coin tokens and access that table. So it's a new partnership. We're feeling it out. You will have both options at this one, right? It's kind of a run through. Pay range will be on site. So if you encounter any issues, or we do, they'll be there to address those. We always have the backup of the coin mechanism just in case, while we're feeling it out.
Okay. Question here about, trying to understand the question a little bit. Okay, so they're asking about at our World Championships in August, for the 8-ball and 9-ball World Championship, teams get last place prize money. They're asking if there's any last place money given out for the doubles event, which I'm assuming the answer is no, because those are structured quite differently. Those are showdown series events. So can you explain kind of how that works?
Yeah, so, and I know that this confusion is out there whenever it comes to showdown series events. Showdown series events are 100% payback of the entry fees that we receive. And each event does have an entry fee. Those entry fees vary based on the event, but 100% of those entry fees that we collect from the leagues, right, go back out for the payment.
Okay.
That's it. When it comes to the singles, for those of you that qualified through singles, it's a much more intensive process. You got to get on a board, pay your money up front there. You go to a regional, you're going to play through the regional, we're going to pare it down, you're going to come out. So the money that's actually funding the singles program is from those local qualifier boards.
Okay.
So that's the biggest difference.
Okay.
That one, we're using that money to set up the lights, to staff, to do everything that we're doing out there. That's from the singles program, which is the flagship, as you said. And what makes it the flagship versus the showdown series, kind of what sets them apart.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So just a difference in structure of
It is.
how people get entered. I mean, I know for some of the showdown series events, some people just play in like a small local tournament to
Exactly.
get those slots, whereas then some areas, maybe that are bigger areas have the opportunity to play in like a doubles
League
format,
Yeah.
For a session. Maybe it's once a month or whatever it is. So it is a little bit different than, say, your weekly 8-ball or 9-ball league where you have teams playing every single week throughout the year. And that is what accounts for some of the differences.
And that has to do with the structural differences between the showdown series too. They're more niche, right? We're talking doubles. If we get to the team event, we're talking ladies, masters, team captains. When you get into these groups, not every league can support these types of programs like other leagues can. Right? So it's not like you can just run out and get a masters division going if you're a pretty small league. Right? You might not have that many high skill players. So there is this component to it where you qualify, but you qualify through a tournament structure versus qualifying through a league division playoff type structure, right? The biggest benefit to players that are playing in the leagues that actually have divisions is those divisions build prize fund that assist in your trip going out there. So the money that's booking your flight, the money that you're going to get in your pocket from your league operator, if you're running divisions, you have that. If you're running, or if you're qualifying through a tournament structure, you may. Depends on what the entry is and how much is being set aside for that travel assistance. But sometimes not. Sometimes it's winning the spot is the prize, and then the funds are up to the individual.
Right.
Just kind of depends on the league. And that, again, that's the big difference between showdown series and singles, or even our 8-ball and 9-ball team formats.
That makes sense. Last question, at least as of this moment. Can you wear ball caps? Have heard you could and have heard you could not.
Depends on where. Ball caps are allowed in the general tournament, right? We have no rule against wearing a cap. If you make it to the championship arena, we do not allow any hats in the championship arena. That's ball caps, bowlers, cowboy hats, doesn't matter, no hats.
All right, so if you're advancing to either the semifinal or the final round of any of the events, all those events will take place in Pool Dog Arena. No hats in Pool Dog Arena.
Again, it's that enhanced dress code. Definitely go out and read the dress code for the general event and the differences for whenever you get to the championship arena. Make sure you're aware of that.
So add to your pre-event checklist, get a haircut. I know I will be getting a haircut.
It's not hard for me.
Has
I cut
already
my
had
hair
his
every day.
haircut
Yeah.
several years ago. So just make sure that you plan accordingly. And last thing you want to do is be going into Pool Dog Arena unprepared, right? Suddenly you're worried about your hair, or you're worried about your clothes, your attire. Be prepared. You want to be able to focus strictly on what's going to happen on the table, not what your appearance is going to look like off the table. And I know there's probably folks that are saying, well, what do you guys care what we look like? Well, the reason that we care is because there's a lot of photos taken in there. There's a lot of video shot in there. Those matches are live streamed. So again, we are trying to elevate the experience. We are trying to elevate the sport. We are trying to make you look good. And it goes a long way when you're dressed appropriately and you don't have ball caps. I'm a big hat guy. Bill's a big hat guy, but I promise when we go into Pool Dog Arena, no hats on our heads. So.
Yep, you got it.
Late question came in. Practice tables. Are the practice tables diamonds, and are they $1?
All of our practice tables, all of our tables are diamonds. Every single one. Our practice tables, at singles practice tables, are a little bit different because of the volume of tables we have versus the volume of players we have. We have roughly the same amount of tables at this event as we do in August, right? But we also have roughly 5 times less qualified players. So finding practice tables typically isn't the issue. Whether or not those tables will be coin mech tables, or whether or not those tables be open, that is something that will vary by the room, and I don't want to get into details. Sometimes, depending on the practice, you may have to pay $1 for it. Other times, you may not. And just come expecting that really, if the practice is going to be in the Mini Mania area, predominantly for that time, it's going to be $1. If we've got the big rooms open for main play that day, and we've got an hour practice in the morning, it won't be. So it just kind of depends on when and where, but we should have plenty of inventory for practice throughout.
Awesome. So I think that is the last of our questions. Hopefully we gave you guys a lot of helpful information to help prepare you for your trip to Las Vegas. Hopefully you guys are excited and looking forward to getting out there. Again, if you have questions that we weren't able to answer, or you're seeing this after it's live, go ahead and throw your comments or your question into the comments here on the Facebook page, and we will try to get those answered as best we can. Make sure you review the event program. Lots of answers in there. Make sure you, when the videos are out for the players meetings, you're going to want to make sure you watch those. And you're going to want to make sure you start registering, which begins tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. I assume it's Central Time. And that's through your membership services account. So if you don't have a member services account set up yet, make sure right after this stream you go on and get your account all set up. I think you'll enjoy it in the long term anyway, beyond just registration.
So many other features.
Yeah, make sure you get one of those accounts. It's a benefit of your membership. And with that, I think we're going to sign off, and we will plan to see you guys in Las Vegas in just a couple of weeks. Thanks for joining us today.